Event between Marvis Frazier and James Broad. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Ryan here at ringside. Joining me will be Sugar Ray Leonard and Gil Clancy when Marvis Frazier and James Broad enter the ring, two unbeaten young heavyweights. And, of course, the national network television debut of Marvis Frazier, son of the great Joe Frazier, former heavyweight champion of the world. But there are other Fraziers who are fighters, and Joe's involved.
Joe Frazier, still the aggressor, taking 3 punches to land 1.
A fighting machine, program precise. He didn't make any mistakes.
Joe Frazier out left, a vicious left. Ali is on his back for the first time in the fight.
He gave me all the inspiration I got.
It's Joe Frazier, the undisputed heavyweight champion.
He was heavyweight champion, and then, you know, I want to or try to emulate what he did.
It's been over a decade now since the glory days of Joe Frazier, since that vicious left hook floored Muhammad Ali in the fight of the century. But today, on the north end of Philadelphia, Smokin' Joe is still pounding away.
Very good. Get out of there. Get back. Get them hands back and dig when you go at it.
Joe is the coach of the Frazier family boxing team. 4 young men who, much to the champ's surprise, are following in his footsteps.
Get off his head. Get him out of love and mercy. There you go.
I really didn't want the boys to follow in my footsteps. I want them to do something different or whatever they want to do. But as of now, this is what they want to do.
The team is made up of 2 nephews, Rodney, a 24-year-old undefeated heavyweight who recently turned pro, and 23-year-old Mark, a Golden Gloves middleweight champion with a very bright future. But the real stars of the show are Joe's own sons. 19-year-old Hector, undefeated as a junior welterweight. He fights so much like his father that people have taken to calling him Smokin' Joe Jr.
Throw it.
I heard it, you know, and start calling me that because I had the style of my father's and stuff like that. I began to, like, you know, take it over, you know, like, hey, why not? You know, I can be just that good, you know. I got that person teaching me, you know.
But the family superstar is Joe's firstborn, Marvis. Working his way through the amateur ranks, Marvis compiled a 56-1 record. He seemed a cinch to make the 1980 Olympic team. And the boxing world thought another Frazier would soon wear the championship belt.
Everybody thought that, well, here's Marvis Frazier, he's going to take it all, and I thought I was going to take it all, but the Lord had different plans. I ran into Mr. James Broad, hooked me with an overhand right and stopped me.
In that Olympic trials fight, Marvis suffered more than just a loss. He also suffered a pinched nerve in his neck that nearly ended his promising career. And it left him battling postponements, illness, and injuries instead of other boxers. Despite all the uncertainty, Marvis kept fighting back. And with the help of corrective spinal surgery, he returned to the ring and now believes he's ready to take on boxing's best.
I believe that I'm back, and I don't believe that my father would let me back in the ring if I wasn't physically fit and mentally prepared.
You throw that right hand on bout. That's out of range. Get back here. Hey. Right there. Right hand goes.
The champ himself lavishes love and support on his boys, but he also works them hard. Almost as hard as he works Joe Frazier.
I think I work harder than my sons, the boys within the gym. I don't have to be on the floor and dress like a fighter, but I do it because I want to be able to explain to them what I show in them is really true. I try to tell them, and I say, if you don't believe what I'm showing you, go upstairs and get my gloves.
That's me, I'm wrong. You just look at them.
But away from the sweat and harsh discipline of the gym, there are laughs to be shared and good times to be enjoyed together.
It's like a family. You know, we laugh and joke and cry and, you know, all that.
There's a lot of love there, and it's a good feeling. You know, there's a lot of encouragement. Days that you may not feel like going through the routine that you normally go through, there's a, come on, man, let's go, you know. Getting up in the morning, you may not want to hit that road in the morning. Come on, Marv, you know we got to get up. You know, I say to my brother, come on, bro, you know we got to hit that road, and that just makes it that much easier.
Easy comes after hard, the Joe Frazier way. and his sons and nephews know it. For Joe, it's a chance to relive his own journey to boxing success.
It's a thrill for me to see that all the boys that within the stable do a fine job, because we all work together on the basis of making a strong organization. And that when they get through fighting, you know, they can sit back like myself and say, well, you know, hey, boxing's been really good to me. I'll be proud to be a part of it.
We'll be back in Atlantic City for the main event. Marvis Frazier and James Broad in a 10-round heavyweight bout. Next on CBS Sports Sunday, the Tour of America bicycle race. After this word from your local station.
Heavyweight. He has the size, he has the experience, and he has the tools to make it very, very tough for Marvis Frazier. He's got that good snappy jab and a right-hand uppercut that can negate Frazier's pressure style.
All right, well, Sugar Ray Leonard, let's talk about Marvis Frazier. Like you, had a very distinguished amateur career before turning pro. I think the big question mark with Marvis has to do, as we see James Broad coming in to the ring here at Resorts International. The big question with Marvis Frazier is the matter of his size, because unlike James Broad and most of the other young heavyweights, he is not a big heavyweight. He'll weigh around 200 pounds for this fight today.
Yeah, Tim, the weight differential will be a factor if Frazier allows Broad to lay on with that additional weight. And keeping that thought in mind, this is one time I feel that Marvis has to emulate his father's style, staying close to his opponent and not letting him get in the breathing room.
Well, of course, that might make it look a little bit like, say, Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali then, if he fights that kind of a fight.
Well, he has to fight that particular fight because he can't give Broad that much room. Stay close to James Broad and punch.
All right, here is Marvis Frazier coming in. A lot of his Philadelphia fans are here to cheer him on as he goes after his 9th professional victory without a loss against unbeaten James Broad. And we'll be back with round 1 in a moment. Atlantic City, let's go up to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event of the afternoon from Resorts International Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City in the great state of New Jersey. Top Rank Incorporated presents a 10-round heavyweight bout sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Commission, Jersey Joe Walcott Boxing Commissioner. The referee for this contest is Joe Cortez. And in the red corner, ranked 14th by the WBC with an undefeated record of 12 wins and 7 knockouts, weighing 228 1/4 pounds, wearing blue trunks with red trim from Greensboro, North Carolina, James Broadax Broad. And in the blue corner, undefeated with a record of 8 victories, 6 by knockout, weighing 198 1/4 pounds, in red trunks with gold trim, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Marvis KO2 Frazier.
Joe Cortez is the referee, bringing the fighters to the center of the ring for the final instructions.
There's a knockdown, fighter trying to knock down the foot with the father's fighter going down the big man 48 counts. I want you to watch the low punches, the kidney punches, and your rapid punches. Understood? All right, shake hands, come on, fighting at the bell.
Well, you could see quite a difference in the size of these two opponents today. As we see on the tail of the tape, 22-year-old Marvis Frazier stands 6'2". That's tall enough, but James Broad is 6'4", and look at the weight differential. And, of course, a slight reach advantage, too, to the taller James Broad. He is 12-0 with 7 knockouts. And Marvis Frazier with 6 KOs in his 8 pro victories. He missed a whole year in his pro career because of a bout with hepatitis, and is just now getting back into the flow of things and making his network television debut. James Broad was on CBS once before, back during the football strike time, and had a victory over Donnie Long here on CBS as part of an afternoon fight card that featured all unbeaten professionals. Broad in blue and Marvis Frazier with Papa Joe working the corner in the red trunks.
But Tim, it's evident there is a great significant size difference. The way that Broad looks, he looks broad. And I feel that Marvis Frazier should be in the cruiserweight division because he is a very small heavyweight compared to a guy of the size of James Broad.
Broad currently ranked 14th in the world by the WBC, and of course Marvis Frazier hoping that if he wins here today that perhaps he can get himself at least up into the top 20. And He feels that he's not that far away from fighting top 10 fighters. Very confident, Gil, when we visited him at the gym in Philadelphia. His mental attitude seemed to be terrific.
Tim, his mental attitude was terrific, but in the gymnasium, they had him working inside and working to the body. So far, he hasn't thrown a body punch, and right now, he's right where Broad wants him, right at the end of that left jab. He has to get inside.
And I see that's a mistake, Gil, because if you notice, when Frazier comes in, he throws his jab and he drops it. And you watch, if Broad should come over with the overhand right, it'll be a very clean punch.
James Broad, born in Greensboro, North Carolina, but living in Wildwood, New Jersey. We've really got two local boys here because Frazier, of course, is born and raised and still lives in Philadelphia, just down the road from Atlantic City.
The way this fight is going, it should be the opposite. Frazier should be going to Broad. In fact, Broad is the aggressor. He's taking the fight to Marvis Frazier.
Marvis has a lot going against him in this fight. Broad has been a very active heavyweight. He's been in the ring. He's had a 12-round decision. He had a 10-round decision. Marvis has never gone more than 6 rounds.
Less than a minute to go in round 1. Scoring will be done by 3 judges at ringside on the 10-point, the round system, pardon me, here in New Jersey. Frank Brunette, Phil Newman, and John Stewart will do the scoring. Joe Cortez, the referee, does not figure in the scoring.
That left jab of James Broad will be very effective against Marvis Frazier. He keeps it going, keep it consistent. He can be able to set his man up for an overhand right. You get closer to him because Broad wants Frazier right in front of that right hand.
Less than 30 seconds to go, and round 1 scheduled for 10. Unbeaten heavyweights. Marvis Frazier, as you saw earlier in the program, one of 4 Fraziers actively fighting now, all under the tutelage of the former champion Smokin' Joe. Coming to the end of round number 1 with no serious damage done by either fighter in the opening 3 minutes. We are back for round number 2, live from Resorts International in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tim Ryan, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Gil Clancy. You're looking at James Broad, now circling to the right of your screen in blue, and Marvis Frazier in red with gold trim.
Frazier's burst out of his corner was straight for James Broad, and he needs to keep this up, Tim. He needs to stay inside, because on the outside, once again, the weight differential will be effective, especially if Broad will get inside and lay his weight on top of Frazier. Those shots, too, to the body by Broad will be a factor also.
Now, there was a surprise. Broad threw 4 punches inside instead of Marvis answering, which is supposed to be his territory. He didn't throw a punch back. You think he'd want to fight inside?
Well, I think he should be inside, Gil. Frazier needs to stay close, smother the punches of Broad, not give him any breathing room. But here I see that Broad is able to get punches off.
Just 2 fights ago against Walter Sanamore, Broad went 12 rounds, winning the decision against a man who's been primarily a sparring partner for some of the ranked heavyweights, Sanamore. And he weighed at 249 pounds. And he's been down in Florida getting ready for this bout. It's obviously paid off. This is the best that we've seen him as a professional, physically speaking.
Tim, what just happened? That's what I was talking about, for Broad to lay on top of Frazier, weigh him down, because that weight, it is a factor. You see here, he's just out-muscling Marvis Frazier.
Bill, when we talked to Marvis last week in Philly, he said he was expecting that kind of jab, and those uppercuts that Broad likes to throw, and he said he'd be inside, covering up a little more like he's doing now, but he's not throwing punches when he gets
right.
Now he is. Did land one right to the head, and Broad counters back.
Something may happen here because they're both exchanging pretty good punches, and they're starting to land cleaner. Someone may go down.
Big right hand by Marvis. He has Broad in trouble.
Broad is in trouble.
There's a big right hand.
Marvis Frazier.
He's hurt now. Now watch Frazier go to the body, just like his father. Working the body, wearing his man down. He has a big opportunity here. He's not going to let his man get away from him.
Under a minute to go in round 2 with
Look at the body shots.
Recover on the ropes.
Those body shots really, it stops your breathing, it stops your circulation. All of a sudden now, Frazier's in control. Now he has to take advantage and stay on top of Broad.
Why doesn't Broad try to grab him and hold on here?
He's still dazed.
He's dazed, Tim. He doesn't know where he is.
He's now on instinct. James Broad is now fighting on instinct.
Under 30 seconds to go. 200-pound Marvis Frazier punching over and under here. Somehow Broad staying on his feet, trying to survive through this round. Now punching back for the first time in about 30 seconds.
Now here I see that he's
Big right uppercut scored by Broad.
Frazier making the mistake of telegraphing his punches now. He's trying to load up for one punch. And that was the reason that Broad was able to retaliate and come back.
What a rally by Broad in the final seconds, despite all of that punishment being rained on him by Marvis Frazier. In the final seconds, Broad managed to punch back with a big uppercut. Now let's see the punch that really did the damage.
Well, the jab got through, it grazed, and now here, right hand by Marvis Frazier, land clean on the chin of James Broad. Broad knees buckle, he's in trouble. Frazier takes advantage of, connects with another overhand right. And then that right there grazed the head of James Broad.
Interestingly, up to that point, we had just finished saying that Frazier was not throwing those punches inside. He had come in covering up, but wasn't unleashing once he got close enough. And then all of a sudden, bang, out came the big right hand.
Well, what happened, Tim, was Broad committed a no-no. You never throw an uppercut from outside because a straight right hand will beat that punch every time. That's what happened.
And he did a good job of just surviving through that punishment thrown by young Marvis Frazier. And then in the final seconds, he actually backed up Frazier with an uppercut lead. So we're into round number 3. A big round for Marvis Frazier in round 2.
We have to see how much of effect that barrage of punches thrown by Marvis Frazier had on James Broad, and also the amount of punches that Frazier threw, whether or not he punched himself out.
Tim, I noticed another thing, another question was answered. Broad stops Frazier so easily in the amateurs. A lot of people question Marvis's ability to take a punch, but he got hit with a right hand in that round that could have taken his head off, and he stood up pretty good. So I think that question's been answered.
Round 3, there's that snapping jab, and Broad still showing he's got snap in his punches. How the legs are, we'll see as we go along. Left hook grazing the face of Broad as he backed up. Round number 3 scheduled for 10. James Broad, of course, unbeaten as is Frazier.
Marvis has to watch that right hand uppercut of Broad's inside. It's a very, very dangerous punch anytime they get close.
He likes to throw that punch too, Gillen. He throws it very naturally.
It's a very natural uppercut.
There it is again.
He threw it again there. And it lands. Either hits you in the body or to the chin. He brings it right under. There he threw it again. What he's seeing, Broad, he feels that that punch is going to land every time. What he should do, come back with left hook. He just did it.
They're slugging away toe-to-toe here in this 3rd round, exchanging flurries.
Now, once again, as I stated, the fact that Broad using that weight to his advantage. He's starting to lean on Frazier, weigh him down. But he can't just wait there, because you see what happens. Frazier starts to throw his punches.
Landing those left hooks in the body of Broad very near the belt.
So far, this has been a marvelous performance by Marvis Frazier. Just marvelous for him to keep up this pace and give away 30 pounds. Whether he can do it if the fight goes the distance is another thing, but he's been great so far. You see now his punches and good combinations.
You see now, Gil, that Broad is starting to breathe from the mouth. Those body shots are taking a toll.
A good combination of the head just scored by Frazier.
Frazier's really digging the body. That's a cut.
Blood over the left eye of James Broad. It came from that last combination of the head thrown by Frazier.
Now watch the attack now on Broad. He realized that he's cut, and what happens, desperation comes into a fighter's eyes. And if I was Frazier, I'd work on that eye.
Less than 30 seconds to go. 2 unbeaten young heavyweights. Marvis Frazier wants to avenge that defeat in the amateurs. An embarrassing loss in the Olympic trials. A great form of amateur boxing. The Olympic Games, of course, the U.S. did not participate. But at that time, that was the matchup in the heavyweight ranks of the amateurs.
There's a big opening for Frazier to go to the body with that right hand.
Coming to the end of round number 3 with James Broad in difficulty. Marvis Frazier having 2 big rounds in a row, and there is a cut in the corner of the left eye of James Broad, and Frazier comes out furiously here, and he is met by Broad's counterpunching. Broad, knowing he's got that eye problem already.
You have to appreciate the pace, and Gil would say the same thing. The pace of these heavyweights, they're really going at it. And for Marvis to be as light as he is, to maintain that pace and stay aggressive.
Just an unbelievable performance. The fighter has never gone more than 6 rounds. He's already expended more energy in 3 rounds than most heavyweights expend in 10, and he's still dancing around.
A little show of confidence now by Marvis Frazier.
Joe asked in between rounds, he said, how do you feel, Marvis? Marvis almost said, good, excellent. He's really keyed up for this fight.
Blood streaming down from the corner of the left eye of James Broad.
Those shots there thrown by James Broad, those big shots. Heavy punches to the body. And for the weight that Broad is carrying, they will, again, take their toll on Marvis Frazier.
Neither of these young fighters has been in with really quality opponents as yet. One of the questions raised about James Broad is, in addition to his weight problems to this point, have been how hard does he punch? How do you assess him as a puncher, Gil?
I think that he's a good puncher, but he's a clubber. He doesn't have that big snap. He's not a one-punch knockout artist.
That was a beautiful left uppercut thrown by James Broad.
Caught Frazier coming in and landed it.
The mistake they're making, Tim, they're throwing one shot. They have to come back with 2, 3 other punches.
Now, finally, Frazier looking like he wanted to rest a little bit. He actually walked away from Broad.
There won't be a one-punch knockout. I believe these guys will be able to hurt each other with either a left hook, right hand, or whatever, but they need to come back with something else.
Broad with his mouth open, breathing heavily. He's taken a lot of punishment in rounds 2 and 3 from Marvis Frazier.
Once again, the body shots by Marvis Frazier.
Marvis is making James Broad work. He keeps giving them that head for a target and taking it away. So Broad has to keep punching all the time.
I was waiting for that punch thrown by Marvis Frazier. All of a sudden, he throws a lead-off right. It's a surprising punch, and very few fighters can get away with that punch.
Well, you better not get nailed throwing it, though, Ray.
It takes a lot of speed, Gil. You have to really time it. And like that. Now, that was very, very dangerous move on the part of Marvis Frazier, because now...
Combination by Broad, banging
coming
to the
back.
body. Unable to back up Frazier, though. Those are 2 heavy body punches, Ray, and he didn't back him up at all.
Well, those the uppercuts to the chin are most effective by James Broad.
Coming to the end of round number 4. James Broad and Marvis Frazier. What a pace they've set. 2 big heavyweights. Number 5 is scheduled 10-rounder. James Broad in blue, Marvis Frazier in red. Tim Ryan, Sugar Ray Leonard, Gil Clancy, live from Resorts International in Atlantic City. And it has been a grueling test through the first 4 rounds.
And Broad's corner's trainer, Pepe Correa, who is my former trainer, instructed him to go for him, keep his hands up and work, get him out of there. It's easier said than done, because Frazier's been put up a very impressive showing against James Broad.
Still blood from that small cut at the corner of the left eye of James Broad.
Again, in Marvis' corner, as far as Joe told him, he said, just box him for a while. Box him, set up your combinations, hit him with him and get out of there. He says, watch him. Be careful.
I like those shots thrown by James Broad. 2 uppercuts to the body. But he needs to come back to the head. Once again, Tim, these guys are throwing 1 shot, 1, 2 shots. They need to throw more combinations.
Strangely enough, up to this point, it looks to me like Marvis is in better condition. Broad is getting tired. Frazier's putting a lot of pressure on him.
Well, he's making him work like you stated earlier, Gil. Frazier's in there. He's making every move count. He's moving his head. And Broad, he has to work. He's keeping Broad busy, which is good.
Right, he can't relax for a second, Broad.
You see what happens when Broad relaxes.
He's dangerous inside, though, Broad, with that right uppercut.
Both fighters have had 2 fights in 1983, but remember, Marvis Frazier did not fight at all in 1982 because of a problem with hepatitis keeping him out of action. Then he was recovering during that time also from surgery to repair the pinched nerve in his neck.
From the very beginning, I felt that the best strategy for Marvis was to stay inside. But now that I'm watching this fight, I feel he should get his punches in, get out, then start the same thing over again. He shouldn't lay it too long, because those uppercuts thrown by James Broad has been landing. The body shots, too, have been very effective.
That's right, and he has all that weight leaning on him, too, Ray. He is better off when he moves around and attacks from an angle.
Because here Frazier doesn't want to stay there. He doesn't want to be a stationary target, because all that weight leaning on a guy, especially heavyweights.
Broad's mouth is wide open now. He's gasping for air.
A minute to go, round 5.
And he's he's gasping because he has to work for everything he get out. Every punch he throws, he has to work for it. Every punch that lands, Frazier's making him work for it. That uppercut thrown by Frazier was a very good punch. But once again, it's one punch. He needs to put something behind it. Add some more punches to that one big punch.
At the end of round number 5. Round number 6, James Broad in blue, Marvis Frazier in the red trunks. And so far, a surprising performance by the smaller Frazier, showing both strength and stamina. Broad has had 4 more professional bouts. You mentioned Frazier was out all of 1982 with hepatitis.
Frazier has to watch out for those uppercuts. They're starting really to land more consistent now, thrown by James Broad. The lateral movement is somewhat throwing the time and the rhythm off of James Broad. But I'm afraid that what's going to happen with Frazier is going to reach in too soon and too fast. The fact that Broad's going to be able to counter.
Rod Corner did a good job in that cut deal between rounds here. So far, no blood. It had been starting to bleed at the beginning of each round.
Well, the cornermen have done a good job, Tim, but what happens is every once in a while Marvis nails him on the cut again. That's what opens it. But they have done a wonderful job on that cut.
Yeah, wouldn't you say that uppercut is so naturally thrown by James Broad? He just turns it under.
Well, what Marvis is going to have to nail him with a couple of left hooks when he throws it, Ray, because when you throw that uppercut, you are wide open for a short hook.
But he's been getting away with it so far.
That's his best punch, no question about it.
Those shots there thrown by Broad to the body, both sides of the body.
This is an absolutely amazing performance by Marvis Frazier, as far as I'm concerned. The guy was inactive for an entire year, so only had 2 fights to come back and fight at this pace and give away this weight. Just an amazing performance.
Oh, those shots.
He's getting hit some shots in the body by Broad right now, I tell you. 238 pounds. He lifted Marvis right off the floor with that one uppercut.
Well, Marvis is in tremendous shape to take those big body shots by Broad.
Let's be fair to Broad, 228 for this fight, not 238.
Okay.
I don't think he wants to hear that.
I meant the 30-pound weight difference.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's a heavyweight, you a middleweight, buddy.
Thanks, Ray.
He's been up there, and so we sure want to make sure he gets credit for getting down to 228 for this one.
There seems a slight flow of blood now from that left eye of James Broad.
Yes, there is.
Which means the punches of Frazier starting to land again.
Well, James is tiring again. Now this wide open again, gasping for air.
That was a beautiful combination. But every time that Frazier hits him, Broad comes back with something.
Oh, he's game. He's game. These are 2 game heavyweights.
With 30 seconds to go in the 6th round.
And it always happens when there's a few seconds left in the round. These guys throw so many punches and land, they rock each other. Someone may go down.
What a heavyweight fight. Absolutely great.
It's amazing.
Coming to the end of round number 6. And again, they finish with a flurry.
Someone should have went down, Tim.
Number 7 of a scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout. The pace has been furious from the opening bell. James Broad in blue getting down to 228, getting himself into shape for this rematch of a 1-round victory he scored over Marvis Frazier in the Olympic trials in 1980. For Marvis Frazier's part, after a year off, 2 fights in 83, weighing in at 198.25 and not showing that he's intimidated at all by the weight differential.
Between rounds, Joe told Marvis, don't give him any room, stay inside and throw your punches fast. Quick combinations, no one punch.
Well, that's
sure you hit him with the last punch.
That's the mistake Marvis has been making. He throws one shot. Although he's been getting some combinations in there, both fighters are just relying on one big punch.
And a better look at the cut on James Broad's left eye. It is actually on the eyelid, just under the eyebrow. Ralph Citro working on it between rounds has done a good job so far in keeping it from being a factor. But we still have time remaining. We're in the 7th round. A big, heavy right hand by Broad.
It hit Marvis on the back of the head.
Now, this is the best thing for Marvis to do. Move around. Clear his head. Don't stand there. If you're going to stand there, tie your man up. Because see what Broad's trying to do, he's trying to pop shot him.
Broad measuring with that tapping jab and trying to get the big right hand in again. But he may have let let Frazier out the hook.
Well, Frazier needs to tire his man up. Clear his head or either move, Tim. He can't stand there because Boyd's going to just pop him at will.
That's right. He's got to grab him and walk around. Get out of there. Don't stand right in front of him. Get over to the side.
Watch Boyd go to the body.
Marvis is standing right in front of him. Worst place to be.
And see, now he's out muscling. He's using his weight. Roy's really doing a job now on Frazier. Although Frazier, his head still seems to be a little cloudy.
Well, Broad is tired, too. Otherwise, I'm sure he'd be throwing more punches.
Okay, those are a lot of punches thrown by James Broad. Now, if I was Frazier, I'd come on the attack.
Under a minute to go in the 7th round.
Marvis should be sliding over to the side. Either way, either chop out with the right hand or hook out. He doesn't have to be right in front of him.
Now, the mouth of James Broad has been open because of fatigue. He threw a lot of punches that barrage of punches combination he threw. Those are beautiful shots.
Marvis hurt him just then with that combination, Ray.
Toe-to-toe they go. Let's be mindful, these are two inexperienced professionals. Only 20 fights between them. 12 for Broad and 8 for Frazier.
Oh, yes. Now, that was a very good punch by Marvis Frazier.
And left hook. Backed up Broad breathing heavily, still throwing punches. Two game heavyweights. Coming to the end of round number 7. A good round for James Broad. Big right hand by Broad. Round number 8, a 10-round heavyweight bout, and what about it has been? James Broad and Marvis Frazier, 228-pound James Broad, 198-pound Marvis Frazier, and the pace has been grueling, and these two young men have really put on a show.
And Marvis corners, Pop said, I want 2 shots, one to the body, one to the head. Double up on your punches. And that's what Marvis needs to do.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Joe Clancy, and Tim Ryan live from Resorts International Hotel in Atlantic City. And of course, don't forget, CBS continuing coverage of the Masters upcoming on CBS Sports Sunday.
Marvis moves so well in the ring, Tim. He utilized the whole ring. He gets hurt, and he did the right thing. He moved, cleared his head. One time he stayed against the ropes too long because gave Broad a chance to really unload some big punches. But he got out. He cleared his head and was able to come back.
As you pointed out, Ray, Marvis moves very, very well on his legs. I just like to see him do a little more side to side. He moves almost all the time to his left. I think he'd confuse a big guy like Broad by starting to go one way and then go back the other way.
I would agree, Gil, because Marvis moves very well on his feet. And that lateral movement, side-to-side movement, would really throw off a big guy like James Broad.
Broad pushing him, using that weight.
Like here. Now, this is when Joe wants Marvis to throw some shots to the body. One to the body, one to the head. Because it's there. It's wide open.
Marvis is really starting to show signs of fatigue, too, though. His mouth is wide open, the same as Broad's. Both gasping for air. And, well, they should be.
I'm watching the knees of both fighters. They get hit with a good shot, then all of a sudden the knees are buckled. But what happens, they don't continue the attack.
New territory for Marvis Frazier has never been more than 6. He's now into the 8th round, under a minute to go.
Unbelievable. This is the first time he's using a jab, too.
And first time in a left hook lead.
But look what he's doing. He's boxing. He's starting now to box James Broad. And he's doing very well. He uses his left jab, and he sees an opportunity to. He's not wasting any punches. He has now Broad starting to reach in.
I thought Broad had a good round in round number 7, but my card has Frazier fairly comfortably ahead. You guys agree?
Well, I have him ahead, Tim, but I'm never comfortable with these kind of situations.
What do you mean by that, Gil?
Well, a few of the rounds have been very, very close.
I'm never satisfied with close rounds.
We're down under the 22nd mark for round number 8.
Now this is good for Frazier. Look, he's digging out, really digging the body, working the body very well. Now he's emulating his father, Tim. He's going to the body.
Final seconds of the 8th round. Round number 9, Marvis Frazier, 22 years of age, 198 1/4 pounds. That is small for a heavyweight these days, but so far against the bigger man, James Broad, as we see it, he's certainly more than holding his own. We have him ahead. But, of course, we await the outcome of the judging. 2 judges from the state of New Jersey. But the size had not been a factor. He was just rocked back with a slapping left hand from Broad. Apart from that uppercut, that seems to be the style of punching by James Broad. Clubbing, slapping kind of a swing, with the exception of that uppercut, which he throws well with authority.
You know, I see the punches that really daze and rock. Frazier's punches like on the back of the head or on the top of the head. That seems really to buckle the knees of Marvis Frazier. And I thought earlier that this would be too much weight for him, but I take it back. Marvis Frazier can deal with the big guys.
I agree with you, Ray. I agree with you. He makes up for that weight differential with speed. He moves around well, moves on his legs. He looks like a light heavyweight in there. He moves so well. And James Broad is tired again.
Yeah, because normally he would throw an uppercut. And here he's just looking at Marvis Frazier.
Round number 9. Scheduled 10-rounder, a big
Tim,
right hand.
the biggest right hand of the fight. He caught Marvis coming in right on the chin, and nothing happened.
This shows definitely signs of fatigue and wear and tear on a fighter, especially if he's a pretty good puncher. And Broad threw a big punch, right hand, on the chin of Marvis Frazier, and Frazier stood there and came back.
Broad has to say to himself, what do I have to do to knock this guy down? He couldn't have hit him harder.
In his last 3 fights, Broad has gone 10 and 12 in 3 rounds. As we mentioned, Frazier's never been beyond 6 in his first 8 pro fights.
Now watch Frazier work. You see him working here, working the body. He's just like his father said, stay inside, stay underneath.
Ray, but he's in a position now he can start pushing and steering Broad around. I just don't like him right in front of the guy.
I don't either, Gil. You should give him more angles.
Under a minute to go in round number 9. James Broad, despite showing signs of fatigue, has not backed up in this fight. He stayed right there, thrown as often and as much as he's been able to.
I'm impressed with Broad's conditioning also. I mean, he's in tremendous shape to maintain his pace. In fact, being hit by some of his punches and shots.
Marvis is using those angles I was talking about. Ray's danced over to the side, came back in front.
And you see how effective it is.
There he is,
side to
over to the
side.
side and back in front.
He's giving more angles to Broad, and see, Broad doesn't know where he's at now.
Broad a little wobbly-legged again, as he was earlier.
There's the angle, there's the angle. Step over to the side. That's what he should be doing.
Broad is really tired now. You see how
9.
Frazier steps to the side, Tim. Angles, that's what he's giving him. And it's very effective.
Warning from Joe Cortez at the bell to James Broad for holding on to the back of the head of Marvis Frazier. And we are through 9 rounds. And Marvis Frazier looking remarkably fresh. Let's go to the corner of James Broad, where Ralph Citro is working on that cut. He's done a good job, because that has not been a problem for Broad.
Pass scissors in my back pocket. Yeah, we got to have a knockout to win it.
Well, you can hear his own trainer telling him he needs a knockout to win it. That is
last round.
Mike Paul talking to him, and there's the former champion Joe Frazier talking to his son.
Hey, Marvis, your last round, 10th round.
Well, we didn't hear a great deal of what Joe had to say, but he was very calm. Probably feels that Marvis is ahead of the fight. We'll find out. Final round. James Broad and Marvis Frazier. They've put on some kind of show here in Atlantic City today.
Tim, I want you to tell me when you've seen a better heavyweight fight. What a
Well,
fight.
I think I've seen a few, but this one certainly has lived up, more than lived up to its billing, because the question was the quality of James Broad through 12 pro fights and whether or not Marvis Frazier was big enough. And I think both of those questions have been answered. These 2 young men have shown they are worthy professional heavyweights.
I think that wasn't the issue, Tim. The fact of the quality of fighters and the fact of conditioning will be a factor, the weight differential. But here, I guess they proved all of us wrong.
Tim, also, it's been whispered in the boxing business, as we all know, that Marvis can't take a punch. He sure proved to me today that he can take a punch.
Well, there was even some question as to whether he wanted to fight. Was he being pushed by his father, Joe, and did he really want a pro career? He was so enthusiastic in his preparation for this bout, and certainly through into the 10th round here, he has retained that enthusiasm.
That's that doubling up, like Pop said. So Marvis, go to the body, go to the head, and he did a very good job of working the body, working the head.
They're both tired, though, right now. Anything can happen in a round like this, but both guys are a little tired.
I like now the way that Marvis moves his head, especially when he's on the move.
James Broad, 12-0 with 7 knockouts. A victory over Marvis Frazier and the amateurs. A one-round knockout on the trials. The rematch here, he wanted to prove that that was not the fluke, but the Frazier family called it. But he's had his hands full with Marvis into 10 rounds of professional boxing here this afternoon.
You see what's happening here, Tim? Gordon now is trying to outmuscle and use his weight, which may prove to be a little too late now. Because here, Marvis comes back, and Broad once again works the body. He retaliates.
There's some blood near the right eye.
Low by Broad.
I don't know whether that's Marvis's blood or James Broad's. Under a minute to go in the fight, and they're still throwing leather.
Broad trying to get some leverage in his punches.
Big right hand by Frazier scores. Oh, Broad in desperation, firing away.
Is he firing away? They told him he had to win by a knockout, Tim, and he's trying.
Look at the combinations thrown by Marvis Frazier. Now, both of these fighters are tired, but the desire to win. Oh, these guys throwing some big shots.
Broad will not back off, and Frazier scoring effectively inside, and James Broad desperately trying to land the big one.
Watch what happens when Broad goes to the body of Frazier. He raises him off the canvas, and then in return, Frazier comes back. He comes to the body, comes back up to the head.
A weary James Broad finally getting a little bit of rest, muscling Frazier to the ropes.
Impressive fight by both fighters.
James Broad felt he could not win a decision here today. He thinks that the height of the Frazier family would give an edge to Frazier in a decision bout. Whether that's a factor or not will be determined shortly. And they have put on quite a show through 10. Marvis Frazier and James Broad, two young heavyweights, putting up quite a battle in Atlantic City, New Jersey today. And we'll be back with the decision in just a moment.
Got that name back, baby. You got it back.
Let's go back to Atlantic City and Tim Ryan. Tim?
All right, Dick, I believe we're ready for the decision, and let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official scoring from Resorts International Hotel and Casino. Judge Frank Burnett scores it 5 rounds for 1 even. Judge John Stewart scores it 6-3, 1 even. Judge Phil Newman scores it 5-4, 1 even for the winner, and still undefeated, Marvis KO2 Frazier.
Well, as you can see, and obviously elated Marvis Frazier, really enjoying this victory. It is a rematch win for him. We've asked James Broad to come over, and Marvis Frazier has asked him to come over. What a fight. What a fight between these two guys here this afternoon. James, we appreciate your coming over. That was a close decision as seen by the judges. You both put up an incredible fight. I know how much it meant to Marvis Frazier to kind of regain the win that James Broad scored over you in the amateurs. Let's talk first about your reaction.
First, I'd like to give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, nothing this would have been possible for me to do. And I just thank James for the opportunity to fight him again.
All right, James, how do you feel about the fight, the way it went, the decision, so on?
All I can say is that the public seen the fight. They know what happened. I always thought that if you back a man up, you got to get him on aggression. Also, I thought I landed the cleaner punches. I'm James Broad, ex-Broad. I'm 25 years old. I'm still young. I'm in my prime. If that was his revenge, you check mine out.
Well, you thought you won the fight then.
What do you think I think?
Well, the judges make the call. We don't. The point is that the point is that it's only your first defeat. You're unbeaten at 12. You've got a lot ahead of you, James. I know you're disappointed. Well, okay, but it shouldn't be. Congratulations. All right, congratulations to Marvis Frazier, the winner here today against James Broad. And let's go back to New York and Dick Stockton.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. If there's ever a war that you can call refreshing,